Hey yo, what is up? I made a couple of preview videos on this tank a couple of months ago when it was still in super test, and I just got this like yesterday in my DMs, and I'm trying it out for the first time. This is actually only my second game in this tank. This is the new ShPTK-TVP Czechoslovakian tank destroyer. I guess this is going to be the premium of the tank destroyer line from the Czech Republic. So this is going to be a new line of tank destroyers. It's going to be really interesting. Now, I made some bold claims when I made those preview videos based on the stats that I was seeing on super test. I said this was going to be the best tank in the game, and I'm right. It is the best tank in the game, and you're going to see why. Like I said, this is only my second time playing this tank, and I'm going to get a great result. This tank recently was buffed in super test. So like I said, this tank was already great on paper, and I was saying like things like this is going to be the most amazing tank ever in the game, and then they went and buffed it just before the release. They buffed the reload time from 5.75 seconds to 5.18 seconds. The dispersion, which was already pretty good, 0.32, they've buffed it to 0.29. You'll see me hit this defender from 450 meters away, no problem. I missed that shot because I hit the side armor. I thought I could penetrate it with my incredible 270 penetration with standard shells. By the way, I'm shooting standard AP shells all the way. The premium shells is 330 pen. The damage is only 250, but you can imagine this like a T44-100, but with higher penetration. You're almost guaranteed pen all the time. And man, I have so many things to say about this tank. I don't want to forget everything. The reload, like I said, buffed half a second. Dispersion buffed from 0.32 to 0.29. Even the camo was buffed another 1%, which brings it up to 16% stock camo. You can get 30+% once you kitted it out. Now, I am running turbo, rammer and optics on this tank. I am not running IRM. This tank does not run vertical stabilizers. This tank does not need vertical stabilizers, therefore it does not need IRM. The moving dispersion on this tank is only 0.14. If you have BIA, if you have food, if you have all the normal things you have in your high performing tanks, you don't need vertical stabilizers or IRM. This tank can shoot on the move. It is very accurate. However, there are some things that are not so great about this tank. We'll talk about that in a bit. But another great thing about this tank is kind of overlooked, but I did not overlook. Penetration of the HE shells is 100 millimeters. Pretty good penetration for HE shells, and the HE damage is 420, which means you are going to spend a lot of time switching between shells. So if you have the intuition skill on your crew, it's going to be very useful, because when you switch from your heat to your AP to your HE shells, it'll take you 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds to switch. So it's really quick. Now, like I said, I did not run IRM. You don't even need to run gun rammer if you don't want to. This thing reloads in 5.18 seconds. If you have BIA, if you have food, it is below 5 seconds. Although 5 seconds is still pretty fast, I think you'll benefit with a rammer, because from 5 seconds you can get it down to about 4.18 seconds of reload time, which is kind of significant. I won't blame you if you didn't run rammers. You could run the binocular telescope if you wanted to, if you wanted to snipe from a distance, but you do have to run with some kind of optics, because the view range is only 370 meters. Even if you have BIA, crew skills and whatever, all your food and whatnot, you still won't get it to 445 maximum viewing range. So you do need either optics, or you need a binocular telescope, or you need both. That is up to you. If you don't run rammers, I wouldn't be mad at you. I mean, you gain about, you know, a little bit over half a second of reload time, which, you know, not really a big deal considering it reloads in about 5 seconds. It's not really a big deal, but I am running rammers. I think this is the best setup for me. That is because I like to play aggressively. I like to play as forward as I can, you know, considering this is the tank destroyer. So I am playing as forward as I can. So I think a rammer would be good for me in this situation. Now, like I said, I did not run the IRM, I run a turbo, and the turbo makes a lot of difference. Now, even though this tank does have good power to weight ratio, 21.88 is almost like a T4 100 kind of power to weight ratio, pretty good, but it still feels a little bit sluggish. I mean, I don't want to say it's sluggish because it's not. The power to weight ratio is still pretty good. You can feel the difference. You can feel it move fairly quickly. But the horsepower is only 700 on this tank versus the Scorpion, which is like 850 horsepower, and the T44-100 760 horsepower. Even though they're all within the same kind of power to weight ratio, 21, 22 power to weight ratio, all these three tanks, but this tank feels kind of slower than a T44-100 and a Scorpion. So I think with that turbo, it helps to, you know, make it feel just as quick as a Scorpion or a T44-100. Now, one thing this is a lot better than a Scorpion is where the rotation is, the tank traverse rotation is 43 degrees per second. It rotates very quickly. Not as fast as the T44-100, but a lot faster than a Scorpion, which is only 31 tank traverse, and this one is 43. The turret traverse on a Scorpion is very slow, 18.77. This is 33.38, so it's really fast. Now you see me here having an opportunity to use the HE shell. So I prepared the HE shell for this tank, and I am waiting for that SU 1:30 PM. I fire blind, I completely miss him, but we'll have an opportunity to hit him in a bit. So when you're playing this tank, you need to be aware more of your opportunities to use HE shells, unlike other tanks that you seldom use the HE shells because they're not reliable or they don't do enough penetration to make it reliable. You know, sometimes you get those 60, 70, 80 penetration, you know, it's not reliable. Sometimes you don't pen and then you wasted your time firing the HE shells. There you go, we found that Senlak at last. I thought he was further up ahead, but he's hiding there and I can't reach him. But good job, my teammates did finish him. I think he did a good job there, hiding for a long time. He was keeping this game going for a long time because my team could not push forward because they were all being spotted by that Senlak. But this game is going as slowly as perfectly for me because the speed of the game, when it's medium pace, slow pace, it gives me the opportunity to relocate. It gives me the opportunity to move around. You saw me fighting on the 0 line in the early game using my distance to shoot the heavy tanks, the defenders and whatnot. And then once that 9-0 line has been won, there was no point staying there. I could use my mobility, my speed to move. Here you go. This is the penning shot on the SU 1:30 PM there. 426 damage with 100 millimeters of penetration with my HE shells. That is amazing. That is like 2 shots for 1 shot. Pretty good shot there. Pretty good result for me. So like I was saying, the mobility, the speed and mobility of this tank gives me the opportunity to leave, just like the Scorpion. You know, once I'm fighting that one, the 9-0 line, and it no longer works out for me, I can just leave. I have the speed, I have the mobility to get to a different place and start all over again. And when I did that, it worked out for me because I got a bunch of damage on the 1-2 line or the AB line right now, where I am. I can't be too aggressive right now. I am kind of like a 1-shotter, maybe 1.5 shotter, so I don't want to risk too much. I want to wait for that STA1 to fire his shot before I go up but then I'm competing with the Buras, I'm competing with the IS-3, and then there's artillery that is definitely going to shoot this location sometime soon, so I need to be a little bit careful here. He's fired, so I'm going to go up and see if I can get him, but I don't have enough of that pickup speed in the tank destroyer to get there to shoot before the Burask finishes him off, but that's okay. I've already done pretty good for myself, over 3000 damage here, and now, oh, here we go, there is a heavy tank. I'm gonna back off, he didn't spot me, switch to my heat shells. I've got my intuition to help me reload quickly there, switch shells to the HE shells. By the way, I only have like 4.5 skills in this testing tank. I don't have a lot of skills. 4.5 skills is about, you know, the right balance. Most players will have about 4 skills when they get a tank like this to make it their primary credit grinder or primary tank. This is going to be just the best tank in the game. Just because of that, this tank is absolutely amazing because you just reload in 4.5 seconds. Gun is super accurate. Even shooting on the move is no problem. Fire standard shells to pen anything because it has 270 penetration. Yes, the shell velocity isn't that great, but it's only 700 plus, but it's not bad at all. The heat shells, 800 meters per second as well. The HE shells 900 meters per second. That's a little bit of a surprise. And for my second game ever in this tank, got an ace tanker for it. Got a bunch of other medals as well. 4,361 damage. My goodness, I was right. This tank is going to be the best tank in the game. Tier for tier, I have no doubt about it. This tank is going to be super dominant, which is why this tank is going to be pretty hard to get. Not everyone is going to get this tank because it is behind Battle Pass level 4 or whatever. It's going to be difficult for everyone to get this tank. You have to grind it out. So good luck. Hope you get this tank and enjoy it as much as I did. See you on the next video. Bye bye.